Hi everyone, in this video I am trying to give you the idea of fashion photography and the kind of different types of fashion photography you can get and you can do. To say fashion photography, to put it into like a sporting context, if you ask somebody, what do you do? And they say, I'm a photographer. That's like saying, if you're, oh, I do sports. If you then say, what type of photography do you do? And the person says, I'm a fashion photographer, then that's like a sports person saying, well, I do snowboarding. And if you go, all right, okay, that's interesting, and walk away, you don't really know that much about what they do, because in snowboarding, you've got lots of different types. You've got racing snowboarding, you've got freestyle snowboarding, you've got big mountain, big air, you've got half-pipe snowboarding, you've got ones where you've got hard boots, ones where you've got soft boots. There's lots of different types of snowboarding. So if somebody just said, I'm a snowboarder, you don't really know what kind of snowboarding they do. And the same is with photography. So if you ask somebody what type of photography they do, they say, I do fashion. That's just like you've got to the snowboard level. Because there are lots of different types of fashion photography that you can do. But this also is the same for if you're doing landscape or if you're doing sports or all that kind of stuff. This book here I got, it's actually a pretty old book which I found somewhere. It's actually printed in 1999, so it's a good 11 years old now. And although it's more about fashion rather than the photography that goes with fashion, it's a great insight to the different types of fashion and the different types of looks that you can get. So whenever somebody says they're a fashion photographer, then you can really delve into more questions. One of the things is like, well, is it male fashion, female fashion? Is it high street fashion? Is it art fashion? Is it couture fashion? There's loads of different things in here. Maybe the fashion is maybe like makeup fashion or jewellery fashion. Or here's a good example of US lifestyle type fashion. So maybe they do fashion, maybe they do lots of different types of fashion, but one of the looks that they look for is a US style. And that's very obvious. Whenever you see like the clothing companies like American Apparel, whatever, or Hollander, the photos that I see that they make really are what I would consider to be very American photos. So there is obviously a style to the American look. Maybe it's the type of models that they use, maybe it's the type of lighting that they use. There's lots of different kind of things that you can tell. And this fashion book kind of gives you lots of cool different looks into different types of fashion. For example, grunge fashion. That was definitely around in the early 90s. Or here's a cool one, fairy tale couture. I like that one. Here's a type of couture called purism. Purism, clean chic. Some of these terms that you may have never heard of before and you may never kind of need to know them. But here's another great one. Again, I would say a very American looking shots there for, what's that, polo sports, but just designer label fashion. That's the kind of thing that you look for. Some people are like off the peg, some people are couture, some people are designer labels. You might have to do fashion for Argos or Tesco or Asda. It all has different types of photography that's potentially related to it. Not so much the way it's photoed, but just certainly the look that you can get. Here's another one. High-tech chic. High-tech chic. And the cool thing about this, in each realm of the type of fashion photography you can do, there's different levels of how artistic you can be with it. For example, like the American or the label fashion photography, you've really got to be pretty sharp, pretty accurate. But yet here, look at this photo there. This one is kind of really great sepia, old film looking, blurry, out of focus movement photo. And that thing, in fact, I think that might be a multiple exposure. Yeah, so if you're ever wanting to do more kind of fashion photography, and somebody says, I want to take fashion photography, you've got to kind of know the different types of fashion that you might have to deal with. And especially, so I would advise a magazine like this, or a book like this, which can at least tell you, if you're having a conversation with somebody who's in the fashion industry, you can at least chuck out a good bunch of names there. For example, there's a good little directory here like Armani, Milano Balanic. It's even got their birth date, born in Santa Cruz, Canary Islands, Spain, in 1943. Or you can go for Dolce & Gabbana, Domenico Dolce, born in August the 13th in Palermo, Italy, in 1958. Old people. Calvin Klein, 1942, born in New York. So yeah, so something like this is pretty good to really brush up on your history of fashion people and different types of styles of fashion photography and fashion styles. If you're ever trying to promote yourself to a client who is maybe in the fashion industry. Anyway, just a quick tip for you. This book is Icons of Fashion at the 20th Century. Pretty good one to have, I'd say, if you want a book on fashion. Okay, hope that helps. Cheers. Bye.